We're here talking about the research collections on the Alexander Studies Online page, and specifically the Zotero Research Citation Library. We're here with Erica Donison. My name is Mark Vasic. We're both members of ASO here and SRG. So welcome, Erica.
Well, I guess the starting point is, what are we doing? What is the Zotero part of the ASO project?
We have a couple different projects going on. One of them is the research collections. And in this research collections, there's a bunch of different ways to access research. The one we're talking about today is, of course, as you mentioned, the Zotero Research Library. And it's just a collection of research sources that's open access. Basically, be like as if you've been trying to organize a whole bunch of research for yourself on your own computer, and maybe you have lists of it, or it's all printed out in papers and stacked and lost somewhere in your drawers from your teacher training. This is a way to access a list that's up to date, mainly peer-reviewed research, but that's just where we're starting.
I'm also interested in how it links into the rest of the ASO project. I know that a lot of the blogs that we've been posting up, some of those blogs have links through to the database. I think I really want to get across the idea that the ASO project is this kind of holistic, linked-in thing. This Zotero database isn't just a standalone thing. It links into the other parts of the project.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really where this research list on Zotero comes in handy. This gives us really a public-facing way to save time for other people and give them open access to our thinking and our sort of personal libraries as researchers or as teachers who are really interested in the work.
So this seems like quite a good time to introduce the little videos that you've done to tell people how to use the Zotero database.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's do that. And if you're at home, I hope you can follow along and go through the database yourself.
So here we are on the Alexander Studies Online homepage. We're going to head over to the projects area and scroll down and click on Research Collections. If we scroll down, the first thing that comes up is the Zotero Research Database. There's a big button here that we can click there and follow along on your own computer. So the very first thing we're going to look at is the navigation. So if we take a look here, you can see in the middle there's a large section, and this contains the body of all the research sources that are in this particular library at the moment. You can scroll up and down to find everything from 2021 down to 1946. And this isn't a complete collection, but it's certainly growing. So what does it include? Well, some of the things that it includes at the moment we can see in the categories. If we look in the top left here, we can see that we have the main group here in Alexander Technique Studies, and then we have these 3 or 4 different categories. We have peer-reviewed publications. So if we clicked on that, this would show us all the peer-reviewed publications that we currently have in this database. This is growing all the time, so check back soon for more. We also have non-peer-reviewed publications, which is of course also growing. Thank you to everybody who's sending their information in. And we have a personal reflections category and awaiting categorization. So this is a nice way for you to quickly scan through and see what's here. Now, if we want to head back to everything and say, okay, well, let's take a look at everything that there is, we'll click back on this Alexander Technique Studies bar here, and that will take us back into the main group here. Now, another way to look around is to take a look at these categories at the top. So we can see we have title, creator, item type, and year. Now your computer might be a little bit different, so you can actually personalize this for you by clicking on this little icon here, which is the column selector, and you can click on the different items that you want to have your research organized by on your personal computer. From here, if we clicked on any one of these, all of a sudden we're going to have a bunch of information show up, and we'll look at that in a moment. But before we do that, we can also take a look through by clicking and alphabetizing things. So for instance, if I clicked on creator, I could alphabetize my list here. I could also do it by year, for instance, and this will take us back to the top. Third way we can take a look through is by heading over to the bottom left-hand corner of your page. But let's say, for instance, you're really interested in the Alexander Technique and awareness. Well, here we go. We have 4 papers that are showing up with that particular tag. We can, of course, click on this, or if we want to get back to the main group, you can always go back and just click up on the top left here. The next one we can look at here is in the top right. We have a text search here. So if we clicked in this little bar here, you can see we have a couple ways to search. Now what's important is this isn't actually searching through the entire research paper, but what it is searching through is the citation and perhaps the abstract, if that's included. So you can click on that, and let's say we wanted to learn what is associated or published on the Alexander Technique and let's say dance. Let's try that. You can click here. Here's a 2011 article and a 2005 article. If you want to remove the tag dance, so you want to look for something else, you can of course always just go back and click on this main bar here, Alexander Technique Studies, which will take you back to the main group. All right, so now let's get into finding information. Let's say we wanted to dive in, find some specific information on a paper. Let's take a look at a 2020 paper here by the team over at the SRG here. This was published quite recently, and if we clicked on this, we can see that this was published in the Kinesiology Review. We can learn more information about it here, such as the volume, the issue, the title, of course. And if we scroll down, we can even find the abstract. Importantly, we can also find a DOI or a URL here. Not all of the research sources have this, but some will have this, and it's a link actually that's going to take you to where the source can be found. So let's try this. Let's click on the URL, or you can click on the link here. This is at the Journal of Human Kinetics, and we have the paper showing up here is currently restricted access, so you could of course purchase this article if you need it for your research, but you can also find additional information here which may not be on the Zotero site. Okay, let's look at one more. If we take a look here, click on the next one. Here is a publication by Cohen et al., friends over at Alexander Technique Science. We of course have a abstract at the bottom for this paper published in 2020. The authors, the title, this source happens to have a DOI and a URL. Let's click on this one. So this one takes us to a different journal, Innovations in Aging. And we scroll down here, it happens to be that this article is an open access article, so you could click on the PDF and download that for free. We can take a look at creating your own bibliography. So let's say you wanted to, you're doing a literature review, or you're just creating, some citations for a paper you're writing, or even just your own website. Well, you could click on the ones that you want, or you can click on multiple here, and we have this small icon which looks like a couple small books, and this is create your bibliography, which you can click on. From there, it'll automatically create a bibliography here, and we can see that it puts it into APA 7th edition in our citation style. You can of course click on that and choose a different style if that works for you. You can also change the language of the style on the far right here. And then you can go down and copy these to your clipboard and paste them into your Word document or whatever Word software you are using on your end. So that is how to navigate our way through the Zotero Research Library, how to find more detailed information, perhaps even link to the paper or linking to the journals where we can find the original paper, and then how to create a bibliography. Lastly, if you have any information in terms of research that you see that should be included in this library that isn't, please let us know. This is a growing database. People are sending in their information all the time. We're updating it as fast as we can, and we appreciate your patience. Okay, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for your support of ASO.
What I'd like to know now from Mark is, what are the limitations from this?
The first is that the library is just growing right now. So we're missing a lot of research that has been done already. So if you do have research that you see missing, especially peer-reviewed or scholarly work that you feel would perhaps fit in this library. And this would be a great thing for people to email Alexander Studies Online, contact us through the contact page. And that would help it grow and really improve that first limitation. The second limitation is the scope of the Alexander Technique is huge. It's hard to sort of limit that. Otherwise, we have this incredibly massive library that's sort of unusable. And this has been one of the big challenges in the past in creating these kinds of lists. And that's why we're sort of limiting things to scholarly work and then some personal reflection as we grow. We do have other aspects of our research collections which look at aspects that the Zotero library doesn't. So we're trying to address that limitation by sort of expanding out to a couple other collections that can help our members access research and see what's out there.
No, that's really helpful, actually. And so the other sort of question is, where will we go from here? How will we develop this project as part of the project?
First part, I would say, would be having community input, getting the information that's already out there in. The second part is a call out to our community. We are looking for 1 or 2 people to be able to help organize the library. For somebody who's interested in really getting to know the research and helping to spread the research that's out there and communicate it, helping organize some of the information, doing editing, things that are still in the very early days of this library. So a call out to anybody who's interested, please email us, reach out through the contact page. And Erica, you're probably going to be the contact point on this one.
Yeah, please get in touch with us, because we're just really interested in hearing people who want to help out with the Zotero database. That'd be wonderful.
Okay. Any final questions for today that we can explore together?
I think we're about done. We'll see what comes up on the comments. It'd be nice to have some feedback, actually, from people to see how you get on with Mark's wonderful little videos that explains how to use it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any feedback is great. And we're evolving and changing and growing over here.
Yeah.
And just trying to do our best to support the teachers, the researchers, the trainees, the community that's out there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Erica. And
thank you very much.
Pleasure.